welcome to the Thrive with Live show. If we haven't met before, how come we haven't? I'm Katie Simpson and I am here with a very special guest. I've got to know him through the May live video challenge, and you know, his story is so incredible. Do stay and listen to it. So great to see you here, and we are talking to John Westhaver about how public speaking has changed his and many lives through what he does, and how he has amazingly shifted to a brilliant way of doing that online now, which is no less effective than him traveling hundreds and thousands of miles on plane to get to his speaking engagements. So let me bring in, without further ado, and I'll get an applause ready for John Westhaver. Woohoo! John! Thank you so much for being on the Thrive with Live show. Welcome.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be on your show, and I look forward to it. And isn't technology so awesome? Like, here you are in the UK, and here I am in Canada, on complete other sides of the world,
Yeah,
and it's almost like we're in the same room.
it's just absolutely amazing, isn't it? And I always say that I've met some of my dearest friends through live video, not necessarily interviewing them, although I do try to interview them at some point. But even, you know, before that, just the engagement, it is really wonderful. So you are so humble as well. What a sweet thing for you to say. Thank you for allowing me to be. I mean, what you've got to give is just, you know, phenomenal, really. And you've touched me a
Well,
great
let's
deal.
start out
So
there. Let's start out there. I don't want to drive your show, but how has meeting me made an impact in your life in the short time that we've known each other?
um I think in being brave enough, you probably wouldn't use that terminology, but this will be good for actually the podcast people, so I don't want to give loads away of our deep conversation before, but let's just we can talk about it a bit deeper
Okay,
in a minute.
we'll say that there's a teaser then. She's
A
gonna put a
teaser.
pin in it, and we're gonna bring it to the podcast.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. So Tim Heel is here. Great to see Tim. He's saying hi to Keith. And Keith is saying hi to Tim, and they're both saying hi to us. And Tim is watching. We're really grateful for you two watching. Really, really appreciate that. It's great to see you here. Thank you. So don't go anywhere, anyone. On the replay, do say hi, and I will just bring in the little introduction video so that I can welcome in the podcast, as it were. So it doesn't last long. Chat to yourselves in the comments if you like. Go and make yourself a cup of tea, but do come back because we've got some very special stuff to share. We will see you in a second.
This is the Thrive with Live show, the podcast where you can learn to go live with poise, professionalism, and peace of mind. Live video is the best free tool to win clients and grow your income and authority. So, if you want to ditch the overwhelm and confusion to skyrocket your online success through the dynamism of live video, then you are in the right place. This podcast covers all aspects, from your mindset, voice, style, and personal branding to all the technology and tools you need to get started and grow with live video. And now, here is your host, Katie Simpson.
Here I am, and welcome. Great. So we are talking about how shifting online with public speaking can really, really work. It can be very, very effective. It can reach people in a deep way. I'm here with John Westhaver. I met John online through an online live video challenge that some of you know about. We call it Leader for short. Live every day in April. I just said earlier for my live viewers it was May. I'm getting confused about what month it was, but it was April. And so John was going live every day in April, doing the little challenge videos that we had to do, and so was I. And I was really impacted by him, and I know that you will be impacted by him too. So I'm very, very excited about bringing him on and sharing this incredible story. So just before I bring him on, John is in Victoria in Canada with his lovely wife Brianna and their daughters. And in 1994, at the age of 18, John's life was altered forever when a catastrophic car accident claimed the lives of 3 of his closest friends and left him with severe burns on 75% of his body. Yet through an excruciating recovery process and against all odds, John found his life's mission to educate others about the importance of responsible choices and personal accountability. He is a respected social leader, international speaker, and sought after mentor. He's received some incredible awards. In 2012, he was honoured with the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. And in 2017, he received the Courage to Come Back Award from Coastal Mental Health. I'd encourage you to look up John's name on YouTube, and it will probably come up with the Courage to Come Back Award ceremony. I'd really encourage you to go and watch that. It's very, very moving and tells the story of, you know, what John has come through and what he gives in his life now and the lives that he changes. So a big, big warm welcome now to my friend John, and let me give some applause as we welcome in John. Great to see you here, John. Thank you so much for coming. I feel totally honoured by you coming on the show, and you know, I won't keep going on about it. I want you to talk. But I know you've got so much to give. Your story is really inspiring. And so, yeah, let's get into this then. So, John, just tell people a little bit about yourself. What is,
Sure.
apart from what I've said already, what is your life like now? You know, your business life, your home life, anything you want to share about how things are going for you right now?
Life is great. I have a full life. I have a beautiful family, my wife Brianna, and our 3 beautiful daughters, Abigail, Bridget, and Camilla. So all under 7 years old. I have twins that are 4, the Bridget and Camilla. Abby's turning 7 in August. So life is full. Life is full. And running a business, speaking full time. And I also run a peer support group for burn survivors here in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And so that's quite involved in yeah. So just really big into giving back. I have been blessed and having a lot of support from my family, my friends, and my community where I was initially burnt. And that support gave me what I needed to heal in my journey and also be able to give back. And so my part of life is giving back and making a difference. And not everybody that experiences a burn trauma like this here uh, recovers to the point that I am. Some go much beyond what I am and heal even more than I am. but a lot of people that have experienced a trauma in life, they often get stuck in that trauma. They get stuck in that conversation and the limiting beliefs. And so, my whole goal in everything that I do is really just to share um, what life can be like despite being having experienced a trauma. So,
Mm.
as you're aware, we started a podcast, and we haven't launched it yet. We're about to launch it, and it's called More Than a Survivor. And the reason we titled it More Than a Survivor is because we often in life get stuck in this conversation of victim or survivor.
Yeah.
And what not a lot of people understand though is whatever you pretense that survivor with, whether it be cancer, a diagnosis, medical health, or trauma survivor, car crash survivor, burn survivor, whatever you pretense it with, whenever you say that out loud and you identify with that, what's happening is, even though you're celebrating something powerful that you've overcome, what's happening is you're bringing along every negative piece with that, along with the positive. And a lot of times, um, in your mental health recovery and well-being, you can't fully recover until you kind of let go of that past and let go of that trauma. So it's the conversation of like, what's life like beyond that label, like when you let go of that label, when you let go of all that pain, all that suffering, and not have to identify with it anymore. It's the next evolution of who you are as a person. And what really is really cool about that is, in that space of letting go, it's people get to create something that they've never thought possible.
Mm.
And that's so cool.
Mm. I'm sort of speechless because I'm just hanging on every word you're saying. Um, and I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm learning from you because, yeah, you have been through major trauma of all sorts, and it was ongoing, wasn't it, John? It wasn't like just you had this terrible incident, but it was a long time that you were sort of physically recovering, and I'm sure that there are things still now. I'm positive you must have things now, although you don't talk about that. But the mental thing, I think you said, was harder, didn't you? So
Yeah. So yeah.
I was just saying. Um, so what you're saying is so must be mega true because you really have been learning it and carrying on learning it and living it. Sorry, John, I'll let you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Um, what happened, like for me, what happened was I was involved in this car crash at the age of 18 where um me and three of my friends were out on a Friday night. We were drinking, but we had a designated driver, a sober driver. He was speeding though, and ended up resulting in, because of the speed, he lost control of the car in a sharp corner, lots of commotion going on, and the car rolled several times, hit the ditch, and hit a telephone pole, burst into flames. Long story short is I was the only person to walk away from that crash. Three boys died at the scene, and I sustained life-threatening burns to 75% of my body. This happened in a small town of about 7,500 people. Okay, so um, because it was a small town, everybody, pretty much everybody in our community knew somebody from that crash. So it wasn't just me that was suffering the impacts of this crash. It was our whole community, and even beyond our community, throughout the province and throughout Canada, people were suffering that knew us. And and in my recovery, here I am. After the car crash, I was actually in the hospital for 2.5 months, and I was in a coma for a month of that initially to undergo treatment, um, but I was in the hospital for 2.5 months of the first part of my journey, and I had a lot of support. What I'm trying to get is I had a lot of support in the hospital from that, and because of that, support, it gave me what I needed to start to get used to this life as a burn survivor. So here I am, 18 years old. I'm about to graduate high school. I just lost three of my friends. Two of them are graduating with me. One had graduated before. Um, and one being my best friend in life, like the guy that's supposed to be there no matter what. And I am also a burn survivor. I'm dealing with life like looking different. Like I'm not only looking different physically, I've got to deal with the internal conversations about, the scars and the shame and the guilt and the blame, just the whole whirlwind of surviving that fatal car crash and all of the noise internally, getting used to my body. My hands were my hands were majorly contracted because of the burns. Like this hand here, my right hand was in the left in the fist position. I really couldn't use it for very much. This hand was contraction as well. My left hand was contraction quite a bit. So I had to get used to how to use my hands again. Here I'm 18 years old. I'm used to using my body in a certain way, and now it doesn't work that way, and I can't even pick up a glass of water sometimes. And it's the frustration, being able to get dressed, like, the things we take for granted, wiping myself after I use the washroom, like the things we take for granted. I had to learn how to do these all over again for myself. And
Mm.
so my whole world was shifted upside down and turned into a living nightmare, you know, in the initial stages. And the physical recovery took quite a bit of time. I was in the hospital for 2.5 months, and I underwent numerous surgeries over the next 18 years just to correct the damage that the burns had caused to my body. The mental health journey, I'm still dealing with some aspects of that, but it wasn't until, like, 10, 15 years later that I started actually working like on the mental health side of things, like looking at, okay, what can I start to talk about, like, for myself, for my healing journey. And as a young speaker, I started speaking about 7 or 8 years after the crash, because I wanted to make a difference and make sure that no other teenager loses their life in such a way, or experiences the burn trauma. But the thing was, I didn't actually deal with the mental health side of things, and actually the loss of my friends. And I just started going in and talking about it. And because I didn't deal with it, it shaped how I talked about it. I talked about it. I really didn't go too in depth, and to this day, I still don't often go too in depth. Like, I wrote a post yesterday about it. It's like, have you ever been through something so horrific that you're afraid to share with people because you don't know if they can actually experience your pain?
Mm.
Like, every time I go to share, it's like I have to filter everything that I say because I don't want these kids running out of the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put these people in trauma. So
Mm.
every time that I have to share, I have to filter everything I say. You know?
Mm.
Uh,
Do you think as well that it was another layer that you managed to turn your grief and your traumatic experience in order to help others, which is an enormous turnaround? And do you think that you did it on a level for you personally, but you weren't able to just share that little bit more sort of personally? For you personally, do you feel it was another level that you've had to start dealing with?
yeah, well, it was funny because when I first got into speaking, I wanted to get into speaking to prevent this from ever happening again. When I say this, I mean the car crash.
Yeah.
And when I got into speaking, I had I had been, a burn survivor now for probably like 7 or 8 years after the crash. And I was a bit of an arrogant guy too. And it was one of the things that I adopted to in my recovery from the burn trauma. Like, that was something that I took on. I was a bit of an arrogant guy. I wasn't an a-hole, but I was a bit of an arrogant guy. And I had that persona. So when I started speaking, I'm like, I've got this great story, so shut up and listen. Like, here's this powerful story that I get to share. So I was a bit of an ego on stage when I first started doing it, and there wasn't anything there for me for therapy wise and healing wise, because it was like, hey, listen, you need to listen to what I have to say, versus, hey, you know, I have something that I want to share with you, okay, and it's an opportunity for you to grow. And I hope that you take this opportunity, listen, and it shapes how you make choices going forward. But
Yeah.
yeah, in the beginning, it was very much an ego.
Okay. Okay. But I'm sure that that was, helping you in your recovery as well, even if it wasn't a sort of perfect reason or whatever.
Yeah, it was the thank yous and the hugs and the handshakes and kids coming up and saying thank you,
Mm,
and even kids coming up afterwards and sharing that they'd been through something horrific, and they would share something. I even had multiple conversations with people who, like, after everybody left, I would say, if I noticed somebody was dealing with something in a particular way, I would say, "Hey, can you hold on that just for a sec, and we'll let everybody else go, and then I'll sit and spend some time with you." And I would sit and spend time with them, and made sure that the administration knew, "Hey, check on this person
mm,
afterwards, because here they're dealing with something that
mm,
obviously they're feeling compelled to talk to a stranger about,
mm,
but have a chance to, when you get a chance, make sure that this person is taken care of, because we don't want to leave them in a negative space. We don't want to leave them in
mm,
trauma. We want to make sure that they're supported." And that's one of the biggest things that I use in my speaking, is making sure that kids aren't left in trauma. But being able to take kids through that journey of being there in the car crash, and the sharing the story and things like that there, um, I pride myself in being able to take people along that journey and bring them back out of that trauma and leave them in a safe space. I've even done I did a talk, probably, I'll say 5 years ago, in a community in Salmon Arm, BC. And the administration came to me and they said, "Look, two girls are going to come in, they're sisters, uh, and they just lost their father a week ago
mm,
because of a car crash. We give them the option to come in, and they chose to come be with their class."
mm,
And I pride myself in being able to deliver a powerful presentation that makes a difference, but yet doesn't leave them in trauma.
mm.
And those kids came up afterwards and they shared with me how valuable this was for
Oh,
them. So
mm,
to be able to do that, I
mm,
know that what I have to offer is powerful and is
mm.
definitely making a difference in the world.
Gosh, John, that's quite amazing, really. I think what you were sharing with us earlier about how you said you had lots of support, you have lots of support as well, and helped your recovery. I think in you sharing that and not saying, oh yes, it was really difficult and I'm still really struggling, and you have a positive mindset. I can tell that. And I think that must be a lot of why you can help others now. And like you were saying about how you're healing from it, and you were saying, don't have that sort of victim mentality and be stuck in that trauma. But you say it a lot better than me. But you move on, and yeah, I'm not asking a
Yeah, thank you.
question.
Thank
I'm
Yeah, no,
just
that's no,
processing.
that's perfect. It's so perfect that you share that, because a lot of times people don't understand that their mindset, how you see something, shapes how you language it and how it manifests in reality. So if you are the victim and you see yourself as a victim, you say "woe is me" and you language it, you talk about it in a specific way,
Mm,
and you collect evidence and reality
mm,
based on this, because look, I'm a victim here, look, I can prove it right here, or,
mm.
right there, look, like, I'm a victim, and they're
Yes.
collecting evidence based on this conversation that really isn't true.
Mm,
It's not true, and it's true, sort of thing. Like, it's all made up. We make it up and then we collect evidence to prove that it's true. But yet we can prove that we are successful, we are thriving, we are in this extraordinary world, and we can collect evidence for the same thing. And it really comes back to
Fantastic.
mindset and shaping, how we see things. And I have always been an optimistic person. I've always been that kid that would always go and help people out. It was funny because I asked a friend of mine a few years ago, or about a year ago. I was chatting with her, and she was like a second parent to me. And I always spent time at their house, and they treated me really well. And I asked her, I said, Karen, what was the big thing with me? Like, why did you guys support me? Here I was, a bad apple, and I was in this car crash, and people really rallied around me. They could have just like said, you know what, he was drinking, he shouldn't have been drinking, he was in that car, he shouldn't have been doing all those things. And what was really cool is she said, John, you were just one of those kids that always liked to help out. We really liked you.
Mm.
You were a good kid. And so when we saw this part of you, we really wanted to support you and help you. And then it was what was even funnier than that was is seeing that after my car crash, I went kind of on a downward spiral for a bit, where I was kind of a bit of a reckless person. I was speeding after the crash and doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. And here these people are, they want to talk to me and tell me to smarten up, John, and stop doing the stupid stuff. Here you just survived this crash. Now you're going to get yourself in another crash. You're going to kill somebody.
Mm.
Like how, and they're like, how do we come to you and tell you this? And from that loving place. And it's like, I wish you would have. I wish you would have said that. But it was like, here, these people really cared about me, and
Mm.
that's why I am the person I am today. Like people saw that, I think it's people saw that their collective energy going towards something will manifest something powerful, and it did.
Mm. Mm. I'm so glad that you shared that about Karen, because wasn't she your best friend's mum?
No, that was Pam.
Oh, oh, okay. So you had
another one that I thought was another, well, considered
another,
another parent. My best
yeah,
friend's mom was Pam.
you, and
Yeah,
and you, somebody, a coach or something, told you, didn't they, to go and speak to her and tell her,
yeah,
talk to her, and that was quite important for you, wasn't it, in your journey?
yeah, yeah. It was. Sorry, I keep
Mm.
stepping on your toes here. Um, yeah. So a number of years ago, I was in a coaching program, and I was talking about how I was making a difference with my speaking. I really cared about the people that were around me, and I talked about how this impacted the families and things like that there. And I was and I how I would talk about the car crash is I was always scared and fearful when I talked to my friends' families, because I thought I was going to be in trouble, and there was a bit of like trying to fix or change what happened from that night, and it shaped how I talked to my friends' families. And my coach said to me, he was very brave, and he said, John, can I be straight with you for a sec? And when someone says that, it's gonna hurt just a little bit, just a little bit. And I said, yeah, yeah, you can be straight with me. He said, take the case, John, that you don't care how this impacted other people. Like, you really don't. Like, because if you did, you would go to those parents and find out what it was like. What it was like when they heard that their kids were killed. And I was a bit struck by that. I felt like a kick to the tummy, and I was a bit upset in the beginning. I was like, how dare you, sort of thing. But it was true. What I mean by that was like, I genuinely cared that this impacted my friend's family, and I really cared about them. But I was more in the survival mindset. How do I survive this? How do I survive this and not get in trouble? How do I survive this and not, go have it go even more sideways than it already is? And so whenever I would talk with the boys' parents, when I say the boys, I mean Jason, Aaron, or Jimmy's. Um, whenever I talked to the boys' parents, I always came from this space of, how do I make up for them, like them dying, like trying to fix or change it. And so I kept talking about the boys in such a way. Um, and when after I had this conversation with the coach, I went and I called the parents, and the first one I called was Pam, and I asked her. I said, "What was it like when you heard Jason was killed?" And I apologized that I really hadn't listened, and for the first time ever, I really heard what it was like for a mom to hear that her son was killed, and she really shared with me the darkness that she went through, and it really shook me to the core because I there was nothing to try to fix or change, but rather I got to be there and listen and absorb and understand her pain. And that conversation altered how I delivered presentations because it allowed me to share with students that their choices they make every single day, it impacts those people that they care about, the ones that love them, the ones can't live without them. And that conversation right there, that setting them up in that such a way to listen from that space allows, when I talk to youth, what allows my offerings, my speaking, to land in such a way that they're listening for how, if I was in this situation, how would this impact my family, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my sister, my brother, my teachers, my community? How would this impact them?
Mm.
And when you do that, you give them ownership over the journey, and that experience will definitely shift how they see things.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Tim is watching, and he also has a podcast. He's been doing his podcast for quite a while now, and oh, Tim, what is the name of it? um, Difficult conversations with it's something like that. People who have survived various things. So, very traumatic things. So Tim knows as well, and he said it can be so difficult to talk to somebody who's been through a trauma and start a conversation with them. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Tim. So John, I'd like to talk now, if that's okay, about your quite new journey, really, isn't it? You're setting up your live. It's not a show so much. You have got like a show, haven't you? You're going live. You're live streaming, but you set up a live event, a private event for schools and
Yeah.
organisations, because you're used to travelling miles and miles and being away from your family all that time and all that struggle and traveling all that time, and now you've set up a great studio. So if you're watching on the video, you can see his fantastic backdrop. um, so you pride yourself on the fact that you can deliver. I'll let you explain in your own words what a great thing that you can deliver, because I know that people think, oh, it's going to be a boring sort of Zoom meeting, but you explain it really well, what you can deliver just as well, if not even better, from your own home. So can you tell us a bit about your journey to that,
Yeah.
and how you've sorted it all out, how you've worked it out?
Yeah, so when we did the pandemic, or when we did it, when the pandemic happened, everything went virtual. Everything went virtual. And what was really cool about that is I took the opportunity to create my studio, my basement. I was lucky enough to have a house that I can have a basement studio. Don't look behind the camera though. Don't look over there. Just look this way. But what's cool about this virtual space is, um, I'm used to delivering keynotes in gymnasiums, auditoriums, theaters, you know, sometimes libraries, sometimes classrooms. So I'm used to doing, these things in person, and being with the audience and delivering and being in that energy. Uh, but what's really cool is when we go to the virtual space, I don't have to travel. I don't get to meet the people in person. I don't get to be there to shake their hand and stuff, but I get to be there virtually with them. And so I can bring in a full production. So you use Ecamm, I use vMix. vMix is the PC side of things. And so with vMix, I can produce a show like you. This wasn't possible when I was a kid.
Mm.
We sat in front of a TV thinking, "Oh, this would be cool to watch, be on the Captain Kangaroo show or whatever it was back in the day." And so, we get to make that production. So when I go to a school and I say, "Hey, let's jump on a call. Let's jump on a virtual meeting and we'll talk about what we can create for your school." And I bring them in and I show them the quality of what we do or what I do. And I show them the different screen setups, and it's not just a talking head on Zoom that's out of sync with the audio and the video. Like I'm able to bring in a quality presentation right from my computer, which I spent a lot of money in developing this space to be able to do that. And I know that when I come in and deliver a talk, my microphone that's sitting right here is picking up my voice, and it's not echoing and reverbing in a loud, thick gymnasium. Like I'm able to bring in a really quality sound. The picture's really good too. And so I'm able to bring in a show that they're used to watching on their phones or in the classroom on a laptop or TV sort of thing. So what's really cool is we can create the production that brings value to the school, and I can, put like logos and all this fun stuff, audio clips and stuff like that there. What I did recently, the presentation I did for school in New Brunswick, the principal wanted to have this to be a big, powerful opportunity for the school. And so the presentation was on responsibility, personal responsibility, having the kids get that, they're in the driver's seat of their lives per se. Like, what do you want to create? Where do you want to go? What actions do you want to do to get there? And so what we did is we created a pre-recorded presentation, which I recorded in my studio. I uploaded online, give them the link. They could watch them in the classroom prior in the morning, and then we came together in the afternoon. We did a virtual brainstorm session, like a workshop, and we workshopped the three different questions, and we played music in the background and we had fun, and they got to ask me questions, and it was like really cool. Like it was like this really awesome experience. I thought, like, we used Slido. You have the software Slido where they could pull questions. The kids come out and they take their phones, and then they scan the barcode, and then they pop all the answers in the questions. We got to work on that too, because there's some answers up there that, you get adolescent kid boys in there that like get free reign. You're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
some of those things shouldn't be up there.
Uh,
But yeah, well, we had a great time, and the principal, like, he took free reign with this and created what he wanted to, and that day will be forever impacting those students. Like those kids from grade 6 to 12 will be forever impacted by that one day that we had such a great, awesome experience doing. And it was all virtual. I didn't have to leave my house. My kids didn't have to lose me for a week to go do this. Like it was a win-win for everybody.
Do you know, I'm actually on the verge of tears now, John, because of, what you have, what you are giving out of your heart and pain with it, and what you are able to achieve, and what you pushed through to create, which is just wonderful. And you're really, I feel, on the cusp of um, what you're doing. I feel that you're just sort of scratching the surface, and I want people who are listening to the podcast, watching the live show, and I'd like you to think about, do you know organisations that John can speak to? Um, because John can impact people throughout the world, and he is doing with me personally just now as well. Um, so yeah, we will. John, just share where people can find you right now, and then we will in a little while as well. So how can they get in contact with you, John?
Yeah, so if you Google my name, John Westhaver, you're gonna come up with one of two people, or gonna come up with two people. There's gonna be me, and there's gonna be another DJ
Oh,
called the Birdman, and
oh.
he's out of Ontario. He's if you got the Birdman, you got the wrong guy.
So you're not the
But if you
Birdman. What?
Google my name, yeah, I'm not the Birdman. If you Google my name, you'll find me on social media. You will see a plethora of articles, videos of people where I've done presentations at. The news always comes out, and they always write an article. So you'll find a plethora of articles. But if you get the chance and you really want to see something powerful, take Kathy's recommendation and
Mm,
go see the Courage to Come Back award ceremony video,
yeah.
because they produced the video to lead up to me coming out and accepting the award. And
Mm,
that recreation was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. They put a lot of money and energy into that.
mm, mm,
And it was great.
mm,
So yeah, so if you get a chance, go see that video. Follow me on Facebook, um, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. um, I'm not on TikTok. I have a TikTok account. I'm not really active on TikTok. I see a lot of people say I should be active on TikTok, and I probably will be. Um, and we also have a podcast coming out called More Than a Survivor. So if you
yeah.
Google More Than a Survivor podcast, that will be active the next week or two, where we're excited to do that. I have a
Exciting.
co-host with it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Her name is Michelle. She's a Burnsmover as well. And and it's so fun to play in this space of podcasting, with
Yeah.
somebody else. And like I said, when I was a kid, this stuff wasn't possible. Like we
Yeah.
are so blessed in this day and age, where we can communicate with people in any country,
Yeah.
like without delay.
Yeah.
Like that's so powerful if you think about it. That's
Mm,
so amazing.
mm, it
Yeah,
is.
it's so powerful. Yeah. And like you
He's
said
a great
earlier,
speaker,
you
guys.
said
Carry
and you
on.
said that you had said something, and you said, I feel that you're on the verge of breaking through something. And I
Mm,
am, and I feel that I'm scratching the surface of, and what's there is letting go of the personal filter that I put on myself, in my sharing, because I really want people to understand that despite whatever you're dealing with, there is hope. There is life after trauma. There really is. And I want you to use me as an example that you can get through this and you can have the life you desire. And if you don't think you can, reach out to me. I will coach you. It may cost you, but I'll coach you through it.
wonderful. And it should cost us, and John should get reimbursed for the amazing things that he's giving. So brilliant, John. Thank you for that. Um, Great. So, what I was just going to say that through the leader challenge, I feel that was a bit transformational for you, coming to that sort of realization, wasn't it? So, live video, going live and working through some things helped you to see that, didn't it?
Yeah, so the leader challenge was good, and it showed me that there is value in doing the live stuff. So for me, it's like I I resist putting stuff online because I see that that's my IP and I want people to hire me to come in and deliver talks. And so for a long time, I didn't really see the value of giving something away for free. But inside of doing the Leader Challenge and having that group of people that you had direct feedback with, in a safe space allowed me to see that there is value in doing live streams. So I will be creating more live streams and more events, and I'll be creating some more videos on YouTube and talking about different things that people can um, experience me through without actually having to, hire me. But if you want the real goods that make a difference, then you can hire me to come in and deliver a powerful keynote to your organization, your school, your business, your company. I talk on road safety. I talk on courage, adversity, responsibility, and the big one, mindset. That's the big one. I'm calling myself the mindset warrior because it is something that has been inside of me that has been driving me uh, since the day I got burnt. Having that mindset, telling people, as soon as I looked at myself in the mirror, I was telling the people in my life that I'm going to be okay. I'll get through that. And that mindset right there, that mindset that I'm going to be okay, don't worry about me, I'll be fine, was the demonstration that I was going to be fine. Because
Mm,
I have that mindset, no matter what, I'll be okay. Because in my head, I saw the future that I wanted to have happen, and that future was I'm going to be okay. And so I
mm,
took the actions that were consistent, made the choices that were consistent with that future happening, and here I am.
mm,
I am okay. I'm still working through some stuff, but who isn't working through stuff? But
mm,
I gotta tell you, I'm not suffering daily. I'm not suffering in my life. There are moments, but I'm not generally suffering. I have this awesome life. Like I
mm.
have this beautiful life and beautiful
Wonderful.
family. I'm the I'm the demonstration of a healthy medical system we have in Canada because this is what a success looks like when you go through the system and you heal. Yeah.
Brilliant, lovely. And Tim is saying it's amazing what you can do with PMA. I didn't know it was had that whatever you call it positive mental attitude, that shortened version, positive mental attitude. Yeah, and it actually your body can heal with that, can't it? It increases the serotonin, all these good hormone levels, which help your immune system and all of that, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. When you're one thing that people don't understand is they're like, your stress levels impact your health, and it actually causes you to be sick sometimes. And that's why cold season comes around. People get stressed out. Oh my God, I've got toddlers. They're always sick. And the stress level goes through the roof. But
Oh,
what happens though in the body is like your mind, when you're stressed out, you hold yourself in a different you
yes,
physically hold
yes,
yourself in a different way. Your body can't circulate properly. You're upset, you're frustrated, you're
yeah,
stressed out, and you're more susceptible to getting colds and
mm,
getting sicknesses, getting flus. Your body's not working optimally. But if you let that go, relax and let your body flow and allow that to you know you know allow the energy to flow through your system, you're less susceptible to getting those colds. And it's proven,
so
like there's
interesting.
that. I don't know the medical terminology for it, but it's proven that when you're stressed out, you're more susceptible to getting sick.
Mm. See, everyone, you're learning things that you you didn't think that you would. So interesting. Thank you so much, John, for all of that. So we are going to have a fun little section now, and John's been very kind and willing to do this. It's just a lightning round, a fun little series of questions that we get through in 2 minutes. So it's this or that. So does John listen to this or listen to that? Does he like this or that? That type of thing. Okay, right then, let's get into it. Let me turn the music down because nobody's going to be able to hear us. Just a minute. bring it right down. There we go. Right, John, so do you like listening to playlists of songs or podcasts? Do you prefer?
Let's go with podcasts.
Podcast, cool. Shoes or slippers?
Slippers.
Great, me too. Pork or beef?
Beef.
Oh, yum. Swimming pool or beach?
Beach all day long.
Oh, it's really nice and sunny and hot actually in UK at the moment. What's it like where you are?
Hot and sunny.
Oh, lovely. Oh, good. Fruits.
You're getting that heat wave.
Oh, are you as well? Fruits or vegetables?
Fruits.
Cats or dogs?
Neither.
Oh, really? You don't like animals or?
I'm not an animal person, no.
You've
I
got
just lost some
enough
of your
kids.
subscribers. Your viewers are like, we don't like him. Oh, you're great, John, but we don't like you. We're gonna go to the next one.
No, you're allowed. You're very busy, Dad, with your kids. So 28 seconds left. Summer or winter? You're going to say summer, aren't you?
I'm
Oh,
gonna
no,
say
maybe you're
winter.
not.
Well, winter here or summer here, Victoria. Winter on the East Coast, where it
Okay.
snows.
Oh, okay. Lovely. Yeah. I'd love to see a winter, a Canadian winter. Salt or pepper? That's a bit of a strange one.
Salt.
And cash or cards?
Cards all day long.
Pew! And the end. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, John. That was inspiring. And the first bit that you were talking about, I'm definitely going to have a really deep think about, because personally that helped me a great deal. So I hope everybody that you have got something special from this. Yeah, Tim said some interesting things. He said he repurposes all his live shows into podcasts, which is hooray for that. Applause. Oh, you can't hear the applause. There we go. Yeah, because that's what I teach. And John, you're not repurposing your live videos into podcasts at the moment, but you're creating your podcasts, aren't you? As a separate.
Yeah, we have a podcast that we're creating. There will be videos that I do, and I will get into doing lives where I'll be repurposing those. So we'll schedule some live stuff to do that with. Yeah, I just got to figure out my videos, my social media strategy yet still.
Yeah.
But
I actually think I enjoy doing a bit of both as well for podcasting. I think you can it's different when you just do an audio and it's to live video. There's a completely different feel about it, so it's quite nice to do a bit of both, I think. So yeah, see how you get on, and all the very best for your podcast. So it is called More Than a Survivor, everybody. And do go. When are you launching it? Do you know the date at all?
Our goal is to launch it this Sunday. We're gonna have it go
Right.
live this Sunday. We have to put it up on
So that
Podbean and stuff
is
like
the
that there.
11th of June,
Yeah, so we're gonna try
2023.
and get it up, and we're doing video as well. So we use vMix to record it, and so we record all the stuff in vMix, and then we try and do it there so that there's less editing. But yeah, and
Yeah,
can I say something real quick?
please do.
You have the best dimples in show business.
Oh, that's so funny. That's sweet of you to say as well, because I thought as I got older I've lost them. But
Shirley Temple, move aside. Here comes...
Shirley Temple. My hair isn't quite as curly as hers, but oh, that's so sweet of you to say that. I really thought that I just got like lines now. It's just like lines on my face, but oh, well, you know, you make me smile with what you're teaching, and So I can't help smiling. So that's nice. And Tim says, just go for it, and great show, guys. Thank you so much, Tim, for being here. Really, really appreciate it. And so do check out John's podcast. So again, it's called More Than a Survivor, and it will be available mid-June 2023. And just look him up, John Westhaver, everywhere. Google it, but just don't find the Birdman, because that's not Sadly, John isn't a DJ called the Birdman. He's much better than that. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, John. I've learnt loads. I'm sure everyone will learn loads. And I'd love to hear from you, whether you're listening on the podcast. If you are, do write a review, and just in it, just say something that's really touched you and maybe helped you. We'd be so happy about that. You can do that on Apple iPhones. You just scroll down to the bottom of the episodes in the Thrive with Live show, and it's right at the bottom there. It's a bit of a pain to do, but it would make us do a major happy dance. And if you are watching the video, you can comment on that or get in touch with John wherever on social media, or with me, Katy Simpson. So thank you, everyone, and we will love you and leave you. And just stay there, John, and we'll have a little chat, okay? Take care.